right, we need base runners. Let's go.
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, David. One more day.
We start tomorrow.
Can't wait.
Yeah, super excited about it. We've been waiting on this one for a while. And, I think we just talk a little bit today just about the start of a season, what led up to the start of a season, what we're looking at doing. And maybe if we just talk about our team a little bit, it can share with some other teams that are still newer and younger and trying to figure stuff out, or somebody wants to look at doing something a different way. I'm not saying our way is always the right way, but we've figured out a way, I think, this year that's interesting. So I'm excited about the year and also a little nervous.
Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
First tournament jitters.
Yeah. So, Charlie, in thinking about just doing this quick episode today, we're starting our fourth season, and we've got 10 kids. Well, we're not started. We're halfway through our fourth season.
Yeah.
Our fourth spring. We started in the fall at 9. So we're 3.5 years in, 4 years basically. We've got 10 kids. 7 of them have only played travel ball with us. And if you take how many years each kid has been with our Dodger team, it's 32 total years with the Dodgers.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
That's crazy.
Yeah, in 4 seasons, 32 years of Dodger experience. So I think that's really been the one thing about our team I've enjoyed is that, we're not cutting and replacing kids based on talent or arm strength. We took a bunch of kids and we're just trying to get them better, one season at a time. And, the kid and the family's as more important than anything. But the kids have all gotten better. And the ones who started with this that really didn't want to, okay, there was a time to part, very mutually on all of it. But now we got really kids who really want to do it, and they're 12, and I think it's going to be a fun year. I think looking back at that from our team, it just makes me realize there's so many different ways to splice travel ball.
There are. There's a lot of ways to do travel.
There's the friendly teams that really don't care. They're going to take their time off. It's just a step and a half out of rec league, and they're probably going to stay at single A or double A, and they're fine with it. And they got lots of other things that the boys like to do. There's everything in between. I mean, I could list them all, but we all know all the way up to the major teams that are in programs that, you have tryouts every single season. And you either make it or you don't, whether you were on the team and good or not. And boy, there's a lot of ways to go about it. I've been pretty happy with the way we've gone. Sometimes I look back and think maybe we should have pushed them a little more, but I can say this today at 12, they all want to continue and they're not burnt out. So at least that was one of my major concerns when we started the team. So at least we have that.
Yeah. I think we have 10 kids that love to play baseball, who are hungry to play more baseball. After we have practice, they're eager to practice some more. They're definitely not burned out. So we've managed to get a good mix of 10 kids.
And as in all teams, we have 10 different personalities.
Yep. Very different.
And everyone listening can understand that. We've got everything from quiet to they're talking when they come out of the car at practice, and they're talking all the way till they shut the door to leave practice.
Yep. We got kids that when you're throwing them BP, you can't get a word out of them. And kids that are telling you all about their day at school and what happened.
But when they're all 10 just kind of huddled up at practice before I go over and talk to them or anything, they're all friends and they're all talking. And I think that's really part of the coolest part of what we're able to build so far to this point. So
by far the absolute best part about being on the Dodgers is getting to practice and play with your friends, and that all the kids are really cool. There's not that one kid in there that's a little jerk.
No jerks allowed.
No jerks, I mean, they can all kind of be jerks at times, I'm sure. They're 12.
No jerk parents allowed.
No, yeah, the parents are all amazing.
Yeah,
how lucky well, it's not all luck, but really.
Yeah, there was some decision making involved along the way, but there's not.
You watch other teams and you get real pleased with what we have.
Well, those are the teams that, you're just going to try out. A organization has a tryout and you go and your kid makes it. You might or might not know anybody on the team. And all of a sudden you've got 9, 10, 11 strange families and you got to figure out, would I hang out with them outside of baseball?
Yeah.
And the answer with half of them is no.
Mhm.
That's just, you're not the same personalities. There's no right or
Exactly.
wrong or sticking your nose up. It's just,
Mhm.
we're very, very fortunate in what we're doing. So we didn't have a great fall record wise, and just to be honest about it. And so
Yeah.
a lot of teams kind of go ups and downs. I said before, if it was just like a 45-degree angle uphill climb and it was smooth, boy, it'd be real easy for the kids to understand.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been, and that's not life either, or the
No.
stock market. It's just not how it works. And we had one of those little crater dips, not huge, but we didn't do what we need to do in the fall. I'm
But
really
we played some
grateful
close
for it.
games. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it was all bad.
It
It was a
wasn't all
tough
bad.
schedule. We played a lot of major teams.
Played a lot of major teams. We had a tough schedule. We've made a purpose effort to pitch a lot of extra kids that
Exactly.
that are kind of 4, 5, and 6. We want to get up there so that we have more depth for this season, this spring.
We looked at it
did things.
developmentally. Exactly.
And mentally, we addressed a lot of things for sure. But I'll tell you this: had a couple of those innings gone a little bit different, and we pulled off a couple of those wins against some of those hotshot teams, I think that I probably would have just been okay with doing it like we've always done.
Right.
Which has been, hey, guys, hey, work on your own. We'll see you in January at the end of, October, right? I just been like, hey, guys, take a little time off and try to get a little work in on your own. And because it didn't work out that way and me not being able to handle it anymore, I just said, hey, what we did with our team is I set the boys down and I said, you're 12. That used to be an excuse. Now you're 12. It's a different way in emphasizing the age of 12. And I did the how many of you want to make a high school team? And everyone raised their hand, and I challenged them on it a couple of times because everyone's going to raise their hand. And I said, okay, well, if that's what you want, then we're going to have to start treating this like you're getting ready. My job now is to get you ready for a high school team. It's not about winning tournaments anymore after that for me, which I kind of felt, we needed to win enough to keep them interested. But after that happened, this whole offseason's been really relieving for me because I'm just like, hey, I know what to do. You're going to have to if you want to get ready, I can help you get ready. And hopefully if everybody gets ready, then, our team ends up okay.
Yeah. And, honestly, if your goal is to win tournaments, the only way to do that really is to cut the kids who don't perform and to sign kids. And usually that's done through sort of, not the best way. You're usually going behind someone's back. You're not holding a tryout. You're identifying a kid.
You're talking through the season to people.
You're texting their mom on Facebook, hey, you want to come join? So you're trying, that's the only way to guarantee that you're going to win a lot of tournaments. So that really can't be our goal and run our team the way we want to run it.
No, because all the kids want to be there. And so we just, we really hammered down. So for those of you who have been in a little bit 1 foot forward, 1 step back, and before you get going forward again, what do you do? We're going to find out if what we did worked, but I'll tell you what we did. We set the boys down, we talked to them, and I told them, you need to be hitting exercises 3 days a week now, moving forward. Just being part of the team for as long as we're a team. I don't care how many years that is. Because if you're going to play basketball and you're doing something like AAO basketball or something, you're shooting baskets more than 3 days a week. That's just who you are as a basketball player. You probably shoot 5 or 6 days a week in your front yard. Just shoot. Why can't you hit? You cannot hit enough. So we really wanted to address that. We wanted to address our bodies and say, if you want to start playing high school baseball, you're going to get strong. You better get quick. So what we did was we divided them in 2 teams, gave them captains. Each catcher is a captain, and then they had to report back to their captain that they did their 3 days a week of hitting with instruction as well. And then what did you do for your body? And they had to report all that back. We made it a fun contest, and each month the catchers got to pick a winner. And we'll have the grand prize drawing this weekend. for $100 Academy gift card. They got little $20 ones each month if they won. Just trying to give the listeners an idea. I mean, I think that what I saw when they came back in January was the second, third week of January we got together. I've never seen the team as mentally into practices. I've never seen the team hit the ball off a machine, our machine cranked up fast.
We were advanced. Yeah.
More advanced than I've ever seen. And just the whole buy-in's different.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, with Dylan being in 7th grade this year, and we have 3 7th graders, and everyone else is in 6th grade. So he was in 7th grade, so he's on the cross-country team. Starting in July, they practiced 3 times a week for an hour and a half each day. That was during the summer, before school even started. Once the school year started, they practiced every single day in the morning for over an hour. He's in band. He's expected to, obviously has band class every day. He's expected to practice his instrument on his own for 20 minutes a day, every single day. I think that we look at baseball and we think, oh, it's too much to tell these kids to practice every day. But that's the norm if you actually want to get good at something.
I think definitely at this age, maybe probably at 11 too, maybe. I don't know.
But not at 8 or 9.
But not at 8 or 9, and I still don't believe that. And the whole fear of me starting this team, with several other people I talked to, and you guys came just 1 year later, was the fear was I talked to too many of my friends who said, well, we had to start him at 7 or he'll get behind. And I thought, man, that's just crazy.
That's crazy.
And it is crazy. It's today that I still believe it's crazy. When you look at where our boys are, and they didn't touch a travel ball field until the fall of 9. We're good. And those kids are all good. Yeah, any one of our 10 could go make another AAA team or major team tomorrow. 100%. So you do not have to start the kid at 7 and go crazy. You may want to start the kid at 7 and get their feet wet and start your own team or do something fun. And that's great.
I think that there's probably a small few kids out there that are really ate up with baseball. And, maybe those kids can do it. But I think that the difference between coach pitch and player pitch is so drastic. It's a total waste to do travel, to spend the money and spend all your time doing travel before the age of player pitch, 9 or whatever that is in your area.
Player pitch will start separating some stuff real fast.
And player pitch is just going to set everybody back to 0.
And also, and I hate to say this because we've had this casualty ourselves, but players get hit by a baseball. You're going to find out real quick if they're going to continue or if they're not. And it's not a joke. It's really sad. And we've had a kid go away for that, and great player, but he just didn't want to deal with it. And it's hard to blame him. I mean, you got beamed right in the back. Some kids are going to do that and still want to play. Some kids are going to be like, well, I don't like baseball that much. So, before kid pitch, I mean, come on, guys.
It's a different sport almost. It's totally different. And I think before you get to kid pitch, and I think 9 or 10 is a good age to start travel. Instead, just spend your time having your kid play basketball and soccer or, whatever.
Anything to make them more athletic.
Gymnastics, all kinds of stuff that you can do. And plus they should get a chance to really explore other sports and see what they want to do.
Yeah. So I was looking, I always go over on Facebook every now and then and check the pages of travel ball. And there's, 7U looking to pick up this weekend and that weekend. He just wants to keep playing. And I'm like, does he really want to keep playing? Or the parents want him to play?
Are you sure he doesn't want to just go outside and play with his friends?
So both of our boys are pretty ate up with baseball, right? I tell you, at 7, neither one of them came to us and said, can we please? Oh, and it was like willing to travel out of state.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, at 7. I think even at 12, honestly, that's definitely one of the strangest things about the travel ball universe is basically being your kid's agent on Facebook. Great bat, great arm. Fast.
I got another one of those, Charlie. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
So want to pick up, and it shows a picture of the 2 boys with their rings, and it lists an age group and a division. But in all honesty, it was a different age group and a different division, and it was a silver bracket ring.
Oh, that's funny.
but they're putting it out there like, look who you're going to get.
That's that's the strange thing to me. I'm not saying I'm opposed to having, Dylan pick up. And if someone came and asked, like if someone else I know in the travel ball world was like, hey, we're down a kid, can Dylan pick up locally?
Yeah.
We might say yes.
Yeah.
But we're not going to travel to Texas.
No.
Although, if it was one of those, if he was really good and it was one of those national teams or something, I don't want to act like I wouldn't do that. I would.
Yeah, but you're not gonna if that came to you and they need you and it makes sense and it's not going to interfere with like the ARM program. Okay, let's get
and
to
we
that
also
one.
have one kid. That makes it a lot easier on us to do.
Well, but I just mean like trying to pimp them out on Facebook.
That's what
all the time.
I didn't want to use the word pimp.
Well, it's true. I mean,
I know that's
it's not
the thing
for the
too.
kids.
Like, and what I always worry about is you say, "Oh, great glove, great bat, great." He's going to show up and go 0 for 5. He's going to make 2 errors. They're going to put him in the pitch. He's going to give 7 runs up. It's like, I just want to say, you know what? He'll try his best. He'll be a good teammate in the dugout. He'll dap your kid up when he gets a hit. I'm not going to say he's awesome. But if someone said, hey, we're playing in this really cool, huge tournament with lots of great players, do you want to come join us? Yeah, sure. I mean,
that's not you out at Vegas.
Exactly.
That's a different. You're talking
it's the
a
player
different
agent thing that gets to me.
Yeah.
And also the whole like parents who want their kids to play every single weekend. How do they manage that? Is this kid getting all his homework done? Is he homeschooled? Does he hang out with friends? Does he have friends?
Probably doesn't have friends. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can't play every weekend. That's the thing with the schedule, and we were so light on it. Growing our team, we played we didn't play that many. I think in the 9U in the spring, I could be way wrong because I've just forgotten most of this. I think we only played like 7 tournaments, which is probably
it was at 10. It was 7 or 8.
Yeah, it wasn't that many. Looking back, we probably could have pulled a few more off, but we were so concerned about, not wanting to burn the families out or the kids out because we knew we just had a good group in general of people, and we didn't play either side of spring break, which we still really don't too much, I don't think. We weren't doing any major holidays, which we still don't. We hit Mother's Day and Father's Day because you just almost have to.
Yeah. We don't play at spring break.
No.
We let the families go on their spring break vacation.
And there's always 2 or 3, 4 families that have gone somewhere on spring break. They don't feel like they're missing anything. They family
We have
time.
practice, but if you miss practice, that's fine.
It's a legitimate optional practice, not an air quote.
Yeah, optional.
It always shows up as optional practice, and I laugh because that doesn't mean optional for a lot of other teams. But
I think one year wasn't it just Dylan and Gavin? It was just our kids at practice.
We got a lot of families that like to travel on spring break. And they should be families because it's probably a little more important than the baseball team.
Yeah.
So this year we're playing 10 in the spring. That's good.
That's a good amount. That's the most I would want to do.
Still not doing either side of spring break, our spring break anyway. Still not doing. We are doing Memorial Day, aren't we?
Is that the wood bat?
The wood bat tournament we added.
We weren't going to do that. We added it late. Can't miss the chance to play in a wood bat tournament.
Yeah. So we had a schedule of 9, and you called me and said, "Got to play," or you texted me and said, "We got to play this." And I said, "Maybe." You texted me about 30 minutes later, "Go, it'd really be cool." And I'm like, "Oh, she's not going to stop." So then you got me excited. And just so everybody knows, if you're in Northwest Arkansas for the Barichi Wood Bat Tournament, we're going to be showing up as the Brooklyn Dodgers because I took the whole theme of wood bat and we're going to go throwback. We got throwback unis, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
The kids are going to have a blast.
I think so.
And wood bats, that's going to be a lot different. The ball's not going to go very far. We're going to have a lot of infield play.
What's the over-under on hits the very first game?
5 total.
5 total.
Both teams.
I'll take that as an over-under. I mean, you never know. I mean, legitimate hits. Yeah, I don't know. Wood bat, we'll find out.
It's hard to get it into the alley. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure that one out.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. That's going to feel fun. But as far as scheduling goes generally, I think the breaks are more important for the parents than they are for the kids. Because I think we all come to that weekend where we go, oh, thank goodness we don't have a tournament this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the reels and stuff, which I kind of get sucked into sometimes, where they're making jokes, with music about the parents who, see in 4 months or whatever,
Yeah.
or I don't get to see my friends or whatever. And um, you got to recharge, man. I mean, the parents are the ones, working and doling out the money and traveling and taking them to practice a couple, 3 times a week as well. It can drain families, and I've heard that too. Again, before we started this whole venture, from parents who it drained them as much or more than the
Yes.
kids, and then as a family, they just said we're done with it.
Yeah, you got to
And
have some days where you can sleep in and go fishing and go to the pool and I don't know, just be lazy and not do anything at all.
yeah, and when I was researching early on, Charlie, 4 or 5 years ago, the whole thought of practice versus games, which is more important from 12 and under, especially at like 8, 9, 10, 11. It's everyone says, I mean, everyone, I mean, you can find more articles than not that say practice reps are more important. Now, you do have to have the nerves and the game reps and all that jazz, but you do need to get out there enough to learn. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's wrong to keep the schedule a little bit lighter, do some scrimmages, and just make sure you're getting really good, uh, efficient practices in.
Yeah, you have to practice. I
I
bet.
wonder. I was thinking today on the write up here, how how many first time parents and players are coming out this spring. Probably they played in the fall, but you don't know that. Or let's just say the fall really isn't that big a deal. The team they played with played one or two, but how many players are 8, 7, 8, 9 years old, maybe 10, are playing their first
Mhm.
travel ball tournaments this season?
Yeah, a
Oh,
lot.
a lot, yeah.
You know what's funny is to go hang out behind the bleachers at an 8U tournament, and the parents are insane, insane. And you want to tell them that this doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nothing could matter less than your child's 8U travel
I
season.
can't think of anything right now that matters less.
I mean, but I totally understand why they're insane. We are insane too. I'm not saying I'm not insane. Luckily, my kid just played rec at 8U. And
Yeah.
honestly, when he was playing 8U, it never even occurred to me to think about whether he was good at baseball. You know what I mean?
We
It
were
never
just
even thought
enjoying
about
the
it.
Yeah, we were
Exactly.
just enjoying it, the process, and I didn't even consider forming a team until I was coaching the spring of '08, and just did not agree with putting that year. Fayetteville Youth Baseball decided that anybody left on the bench after you put the infielders in place, just everyone go to the outfield. I was like, oh my god, I can't do this. And so that was amongst a couple rules I didn't really agree with. So
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's
I
why
think
we left.
those are the
But
kind of things that drive. I mean, that's a untalked about thing in the youth baseball community is the ways that rec leagues drive people out of rec leagues. There's so many ways.
I think there's a lot of things Rec League could do that could have kept people around longer. One, by the time you're okay, 8, maybe you can have 4 outfielders or something. I'll split the difference. It's a big field, but why can't you have nucleuses of 5 players that stick together or six
Yeah.
players that stick
Well,
together?
because what it would be is you would have the board members have the five best kids every year, and
Yeah,
then that's a big thing too is they let these teams stack, and so your kid ends up on a team that's terrible and can't win any games because you
yeah.
got a couple of stacked teams. Which that the funny thing is in travel there's stacked teams, but it's explicit. It's not. There's no pretend fairness
No,
in
you got to
travel
try out
baseball.
after the fall season. You got to try out after the spring season. They may cut you during the middle of the season if you're not keeping up.
And what
We're
you
here
can
to
do is,
win.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
take your 10 kids and keep them together for 4 years and make them better, and they can get good. Unlike rec, where you're going to have a different team every year.
Yeah.
But that's an entirely different conversation. But I think a lot of people, especially people who don't have kids playing baseball right now, think travel ball killed rec ball when actually rec ball killed itself.
I agree with that statement. Rec ball killed itself at least for at least a couple more years.
Yeah, yeah. And
I mean, a couple meaning like 9, 10 should still. Most of the kids should still be out there,
exactly. That's perfect
and
for
they
them.
weren't because they were leaving at 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Big
And if you
exodus
look
after.
at our age in our city's rec league, none of those kids could make travel teams. Literally not, I mean, I don't want to say 100%, but the vast majority of good players have left rec league by 11.
By 10. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. They're playing,
that last group that came after us that went full time rec at 10, that was with the last good players,
that
and they
was
were
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
But they were the last
There may
ones.
be one or two good players over there. I don't know. I haven't seen every player,
Right.
but when you go watch those games, and it's funny because you hear people say double A baseball is no better than rec. They haven't seen rec because double A baseball, as bad as it is way better than rec.
It's crazy the different levels that you get to.
And then, like we saw last weekend, there's another level. We saw a team so far above what we thought was the top 12U.
I never thought I would see a collection of 12-year-olds that good
It
on
looked
one
like a
team.
high school team, and that's not even just a high school team, a good high school team. I think they would be competitive with high school teams,
I
a
don't know.
lower level.
I don't know. They were good.
Yeah,
They were good.
I mean, yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
Of course, they're on a smaller field, so it's hard to tell. But
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but they were a highly national ranked PG team, and it was fun to watch them play.
yeah,
Made me go home and hug my son and say, "Study up, bud," or
that's
marry rich.
Yeah, no
One
doubt.
of the two. One other thing I wanted to get out of this year for our team is, really just step up. We've always had a positive dugout culture,
Hmm.
but I would encourage everybody to always, make sure that's happening. Don't let kids talk about each other. Make sure they're always picking each other up, the basics. But I think this year, going with that, everyone raised their hand that I do want to play at a high school in the future, no matter the size of it. We really, really got to pick up the mental game even more this year,
Hmm.
where it's just it's not that you're just holding back your disappointment, but that you're able to go back, put your bat and helmet back, get back in there, and not only lift the other teammates up while you're feeling down, but look and learn from the pitcher of what he's doing that you missed, or maybe his motion or whatever. Maybe try to get a read on him because you might face him again. The really tough stuff mentally. It's
Yeah,
going to be elite, but we're working on it. We've worked on it in different ways in the off-season practices, and I've seen some improvement. But that's a big lift. It
well, you
really
said
is.
earlier that we got a lot of different personalities on the team, and we really do have a handful of kids that, as they say in kindergarten, they feel big emotions.
Yeah.
They, and I think that's just them. I don't think it's, you can't really read a lot into it. That's just their personality. They get frustrated. Their frustration can come out as, tears or anger. And it's because they want to perform well and they want to win.
Yeah, that's just what we're working on is to trying to get a 12-year-old to grasp big concepts. That it's, I've told them it
Be
doesn't.
okay with that failure.
You get a couple things. One, you get to learn from it, which they don't care. It's like
No.
that's what you've got to understand is you get to learn from that strikeout or that error or that bad pitching performance. You get to learn from it and get better. And I've told them anybody who's going to look at you and make a decision in a tryout in a few years, they're not here.
Right.
And they don't care.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
use this opportunity to get better and just play baseball for the love of it. But man, I get it. They all want to do best, and they feel like they failed their teammates. And
it's no different than the emotions we feel as adults when we don't do something well. We just control the result of our emotion better than they can.
some days better than others.
Yeah. Who hasn't cried?
Yeah, or felt
Yeah.
like it for sure.
We got some criers on our team. That's fine with me. I've never had a problem with that, but I'm a mom. I know dads don't like that when the kids cry.
I told him I don't care if a tear's in your eye because that's your natural instinct, but we can't go sit on the back of the bench and feel
Yeah.
sorry for ourselves.
Exactly.
Own your emotion that you cry. If that's who you are, hey, own it.
Yeah.
But you still got to get back up and cheer your teammate on and try to figure out, what you did wrong so you can fix it next time. And you can be sad while you do it. Let's try to hold it till the dugout, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, while you're doing that, you're still going to be beside your teammate up on the fence. Because
Yeah.
if you're sitting in the back, I ain't having it.
And one thing we've never allowed is throwing bats, throwing
No,
helmets,
no.
anything like that, of course, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
I think we do have kids that want to succeed so badly that they do get frustrated. And honestly, I would rather have those kids than the kids that don't care if they succeed or fail.
Yeah, we see those too, really highly talented players that, I mean, they may have a horrible game and they're over there just laughing it up because they don't really care.
Or they just don't ever show any emotion whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be because, like, I feel like I also want them to succeed. So I feel like, they should want to succeed at least as much as I want them to succeed. But yeah, we just lucked out and got a few kids like that.
We'll leave it as emotionally charged kids that are great kids that are learning some good lessons. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that they're underneath our wing because we're getting to teach them, along the way too. What if the softies, and I say softies, that's wrong, but the kids who let emotions get to them quicker than others, what if they were under, just, one of those old school coaches that's just going to, get all over them at 8 or 9 or 10, they might not be playing baseball right now.
Or a coach who just didn't want to deal with it and told them to quit.
Told them to leave. Yeah, told them to quit. So, I'm happy with the 10. I'm happy with the effort, the crazy effort they put in this fall. And I'm excited to see. It won't be perfect, but I feel really, really good about it, especially since for us, we've always been kind of a local regional team, and we're taking the show on the road. So
we're traveling.
Being Ballparks of America in Branson starting tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. Coming back here again, we're going to be in Fort Smith. We're going to be in Conway. We're going to be in Kansas City. It's going to be a fun. It's either going to be a lot of fun or it's going to be like what were we thinking?
Absolute torture. We got to find something fun about it, no matter what.
Yeah, I think this could be our most fun year, and it's going to be the most fun year for me, honestly, because I'm just looking at it different now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the fall, you said we didn't have a very good fall, and that's true. But the very last game that we played, a few of the kids stuck around after our game, after we lost on Sunday, and just hung out, ran up and down the hill at Kessler, had some nachos. And I was like, that's exactly what those kids needed. They needed to be together, have some fun, put things in perspective, watch some other teams play baseball.
Yeah, I should say this. The record wasn't what I thought it would be, but we did some good things. It would be like play 3 great innings and let one
exactly.
get away. Exactly. We'd have a major team down for 3 innings and then let it get away barely. And like I said, looking back now, I'm really glad that happened because it pushed me to kind of say, let's address this thing to the next level instead of waiting to get to the end of 12 and be like, okay, guys, who wants to do what? We've addressed it now and they've all bought in. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
we'll see
they're
what
all
happens.
on board.
I don't know. What's your advice, Charlie, here at the end here? What's your advice to first-time parents? Say they didn't get in the fall. Their kids are hitting spring for the very first time at travel ball. What are you going to tell their parents?
The first thing I would say is to play catch with your kid every single day.
Every day.
Every day, especially if your kid is young. We're talking about 7, 8, 9, 15 minutes after they get home from school, go out in the front yard. It doesn't have to be long toss. They don't have to have perfect form. They don't have to keep their glove up. Just let them talk to you about their day, what's going on in their life, and play catch. And that will help them more than lessons or a new hitting device that you found at Academy or whatever. That will be the most.
Or picking up with another team.
Or picking up with another team.
Yeah.
Or that'll be better for them developmentally than anything else you could do. And plus, you get to talk to your kid for 15 minutes about their day.
Yeah,
And they'll,
that's really cool perspective. I agree. Well, I agree with you, and you know where I was. I agree with the throwing. If I had to do it all over again, we would throw more.
yeah,
But the perspective though, of just spend 15 minutes, and your kid's gonna then associate baseball with good vibes and
yeah.
spending time with you, and yeah,
Try not to get mad when they throw it over your head.
yeah,
Try not to get mad when they get distracted and don't try their best. Just,
yeah.
I know that can be hard. That's,
And so, what's the advice on the ride home after their first
well,
season?
probably
During their
not the
first
best
season?
person to ask about. I know
Well,
everyone says don't talk about the game, but my kid wants to talk about the game. He wants to know why he struck out, why he didn't get a hit, what he did wrong on that one play. Or he wants to say, hey, mom, did you see me strike that kid out? Did you see me get that big hit? Whether it's good or bad, he wants to talk about it. You know,
yeah. Again, different personalities.
exactly.
Know your kid. I guess there's a place to talk. There's a place to not talk. I think, but there's definitely no place for the parent to go down the list of things they did wrong.
You're right. Don't tell them they're terrible.
No.
I mean, what we do is I say, if Dylan's frustrated about, he didn't get any hits that game, then I say, you know what, when we get home, we can go in the batting cage and we can hit. Or if you made an error, we can go take some ground balls.
Yeah.
Or we can work on pitching. If you didn't do good pitching, we can commit. We're not going to, go home and do pitching. That's not good for you, but we can commit to throwing at a target every day this week. It's like, find something you can do to help them. And I know that every kid's different, but with Dylan, if he fixes the problem in his mind, he feels better about it. Like if he knows, okay, I know how I'm going to get through this and fix it. It's not a permanent issue.
Yeah. And then he
Makes
can
him feel
go on
better.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out if all the work is going to help out from the win column. But no, it's not even the wins this year. I just want to see them. I do want to see them all, compete, take the advanced steps they have at hitting or fielding or pitching or catching, and I just want to see their individual games develop. That's going to be a win for me. And if we get enough of that happening, we'll win enough games where everyone will be happy enough. But I'm not setting a win total as a measure of
No.
success in any way, shape, or form this year. It's can we get these kids better than they were in the fall and then better than they are now by the end of the year. If we've done that, then
We'll win games. I mean,
we'll win
that's
games.
the truth of the matter. If you
Yeah.
are really developing players, you will win games.
Yeah.
A lot of teams that don't win try to say they're developing players, but
Okay. Well, we got to go. But last thing, because now you said I can promise you this: there will be no guest players, just for the sake of guest players, batting first, playing shortstop, and pitching
pitching
in
on
front of our
Sunday.
boys. Okay, there.
Pitching
I'm
game
done.
one.
There, I'm done. I'm done
That
with.
is another thing that's good about our team.
Yeah,
We don't just pick up players all the time to make our team better. And you know what? It doesn't make your team better. If you're starting a travel team, resist the urge because little Timmy, who goes to school with your kid, is free that weekend and he's really good. I promise it's going to ruin the dugout vibe. Just don't do it.
I
If
made
you
a
have
joke.
to, if you
I
have
made a
8
joke
kids,
Wednesday at practice with one of our players. His name starts with a K, and I was joking with him because he knew of an instance where this happened last weekend. And I said, hey man, you want me to bring in a guest player and bat him first and catch him in front of you? And he started laughing. He goes, no, but I
exactly.
mean, they get it. And if we were doing that, they'd start losing trust in me.
Yeah.
You know,
And you know what? When we have practice, I know we're going to wrap this up, but when we have practice, we preach to these kids that they're a unit, they're a team, they're playing for each other. I don't care how good the player is that you mix in, it undermines that message.
Yep.
So don't do it.
Don't do it. Okay, I'm going to end it here. As you can all tell, and if you've listened at all beforehand, Charlie and I can do this for like 5 hours a night and probably put people to sleep. We should maybe do a late night podcast where people can listen to us and just go to bed. But we like it, so we don't apologize for it. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. See you and Dale and
Get up
Dylan
early
show
in the
up
morning.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll start off
Everything.
first pitch 9 a.m. So we'll see how the season goes. So we'll see everybody there. It's on the Dodgers, and for everybody listening, we'll see you at the ballpark.